Garrett, how was the bye week, man? What were you doing, bro?
Nothing much. Coached a football game. Went up to Lawrence and watched some football. Watched Will Howard lose the game for Ohio State. I don't know. It was really brain dead. Bad football is just really not fun to watch. So that was fun. Watched K
Honestly,
State beat Colorado. That was fun too.
honestly, dude, this weekend had some pretty mid like NFL games. Honestly, it was just a lot of blowouts and a lot of like, eh. But I went up to the Dallas for the Red River rivalry. Texas OU, one of the best in college. Half the stadium's cheering for one team, half the stadium's cheering for the other team. It's usually packed, but OU fans, they couldn't stick to the end, so they all left. Go Longhorns, obviously. But yeah, hey, guess what we brought back on the bye week? Statman Jackson is here. So
Let's go.
this is Talking Chop.
Yeah, I want to just talk about that for a second.
This guy is a
Dude,
beast.
it seems like he just rubs butter on himself.
Because he had 2 touchdowns, baby. Welcome back, watchers and listeners, to the show Talking Chop. We had a bye week, but we don't take days off. We are back, and we bring you back. Oh, over here, Jackson Steele, our stats man.
Finally got a camera, guys.
And
You
he's
joined the
here-
webcam gang.
I
We love to
joined
see it.
I joined it.
And he is here to pop in with some very nice insights, some fun, some banter, and some stats. Because guys, we can't just know everything off the top of our head. That's just impossible. Jackson can though. That's what he just does. He
I'm
doesn't
kinda
Google it or anything.
No,
Yeah,
no,
no,
it's all
no.
it's all right here.
It's all in the dome. It's all in the dome.
My
But-
brain is actually connected to Google. Got that
It
Neuralink
is.
to me.
But Jackson has one thing that we don't have, which is the Juju Smith-Schuster jersey, which is the cleanest,
Yes,
honestly,
sir.
right now. When did you buy that?
In-
Like, did you buy it like the year he got? Well, I guess we only had him for a year.
Yeah, it was
so-
like I got it for Christmas that year that he was here and then he left. Was like, I'm gonna keep that jersey. Now it's relevant again. It's relevant.
That's why you never
Dude.
throw away your jerseys. Tell that to the Cream Hunt guys too. Never throw
Yeah,
them away.
for real. Tell it to the Cream Hunt guys. Tell it to damn near every player because, maybe the MVS guys will be back, but we'll talk about that. A lot of trades have happened in the NFL, a lot of breakdown on those, and just a crazy NFL atmosphere. Is Veach just going to sit on his butt and not do anything, or is he going to make a move? We'll find out. But first, let's get into our classic injury report and player news. Get the fun stuff out of the way first. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is now officially opened up his practice window and is going to come back. I guess that was something that still needed to happen because he was ruled out last week, but they said today that he can now practice, and in 21 days he has to be activated or he goes back on IR. But that's
Now the
probably
real
not gonna
question though
happen.
is, are we going to put Clyde in over Carson Steele? Obviously, I think Cream Hunt has kind of solidified that number 1 spot until Pacheco gets back. But are they going to slide Clyde over into that number 2 spot over Carson? Judging by the carry count the last game, maybe. It just kind of depends on Clyde. It maybe just because he's more used to the system and we can put Carson back into that more fullback role. I could see that happening. So
Yeah, I think we're going to carry 4 backs regardless. But yeah, and where does P. Ryan fit into this? He'll probably have a firm grip of his third down passing role, although I don't really see it. I haven't seen him like excelling at his third down passing role yet, but
yeah,
then
I mean,
again,
he hasn't
he's got
had a lot of targets out of the backfield either, and I feel like, I mean, McKinnon didn't start off hot, and obviously
That's
he's
true.
not McKinnon, but he, who knows? Maybe P. Ryan will have that same stretch down the line where McKinnon had like 6 straight games with a touchdown, right? It was something crazy like that near the end of one of those seasons, but I could
Yeah.
see that happening. I think he'll definitely be number 4 though. I think Clyde is over him and Carson for sure.
Absolutely. Statsman Jackson, do you have any intake on this situation before we relegate you to the pop in, pop out?
Well, I was
We send him to the dungeon.
You
Send
brought
him to the
Jared
dungeon.
McKinnon up, so it made me wonder what was that streak, and it looks like he got on. That was a 6-game touchdown streak.
Dude,
Wow.
I was right. What can I say? Sometimes it is
Mhm.
off the dome. But yeah, McKinnon popped off there for a while, and on fantasy, especially like just in that waiver wire pickup, he was just popping off for those flex slots. But
Yeah, I mean, that was just like such a rare thing to see, like an RB2 in fantasy go off as like consistently as McKinnon did. And I mean, didn't he drop like some 30-point games? Like, it
yes,
was-
well, because he had a couple like 2 touchdown games too, and he had like some just some long yardage like screens.
well,
Like, he
there
just
was the
went
one where
crazy.
Mahomes, like in the Broncos game, did that one like flip pass or whatever. That was pretty good. All right, Jackson. We'll see you when you got some breaking stats. Phew. Hey, that's cool. I like this animation.
Yeah, I kind
Listen,
of like the
guys.
little transition there. It's kind of nice.
Listen, StreamYard, we're not sponsored by them, but hell do we use this thing. This thing is a really good thing. Now, here we're going into some of the more exciting news, I guess. So there's some big wide receivers that have just gone on the move. 2 wide receivers that have been linked to the Chiefs. At least the Chiefs have inquired about them. There was rumors that the Chiefs put a offer on the table for one of these guys. Davante Adams is now a Jet. I almost said a Packer because it's hard to tell the difference between the Jets and the Packers anymore because Aaron Rodgers is just rebuilding his little friend group from back in his old place.
He's getting his Christmas wish list, man. Like the coach that he probably didn't mesh with too well's gone. He got all of his dudes. He got Allen Lazard. Now he got Davante Adams back. I feel like he just has like a chokehold on the Jets organization because he's just like, well, if you don't get me the guys I want, I'm not going to play. So
did you guys see the Pat McAfee bit with Aaron Rodgers and Davante?
Yes, I did see that. It was
that was
dude,
funny.
they knew this was coming from a mile away. Also because like they literally like had like I think Davante went to the dang game is what I heard.
Yeah.
Like he was at the Jets game that he wasn't even on the team for. I was like, bro, come on. Like it's almost tampering at this point. The Raiders are actually getting a 3rd round pick that can turn into a 2nd round pick. So honestly, I think that's pretty good value. I think they got what they wanted. Apparently the Chiefs also offered a 2nd round pick, but there was no way that we were going to ever.
No.
There was no way that the Raiders were going to
in division trades. It was just never going to happen. And good for the Raiders. They obviously got like, is he probably worth more than that 3rd? Yeah, but it's for a player that doesn't want to play for you. He's done with the organization. It's probably just best to get him off the payroll, get him early, sell him high. It's good for them. We were never going to get him, so it's fine.
Well, and apparently the Packers are taking on that salary. But the thing about that is, let's go to the next guy. Amari Cooper, a Bill. They needed help at the wide receiver position. Josh Allen has been having an amazing season without a good wide receiver.
Yeah.
Now they finally have like a true number 1. Keon Coleman hasn't really stepped up. Khalil Shakir is good, but I think he's really best when he is the 2nd target on the team. He's more of like a slasher slot role. Like, he does make some plays down the field, but it's just you don't want a number 1 corner on him. So
he's the
Amari
sneaky
Cooper
guy you
comes
put
in.
out there. He just fills in those like just the spaces taken up by the number 1, and he gets some good games.
I think fantasy owners would actually want to keep on to Khalil Shakir because I think he's actually going to get better with the Amari Cooper thing, and I think the Bills got a lot better by finally having a threat on offense that is not a tight end or a running back. And even Kincaid has been having his not as great season this year as he should have been having. But Amari Cooper, he goes for a way like better deal. Honestly, it's only a 3rd round pick and they still did a pick swap. So the Bills are getting a 6th round pick back for a 7th round pick that they're giving to the Browns. So really it's like a 1/3 and a half for Amari Cooper, basically, which is like, his contract is only under $1 million. And that is usually what would incentivize a team to have to pay more for a player is to take on the salary. But they're not. It's crazy. I mean, I didn't see Veach doing this because, like we love to say, Veach just has not traded for a veteran wide receiver. I mean, the oldest receiver I feel like we have traded for or signed for is maybe Sammy Watkins, maybe Juju. Like, who older than that have we brought in?
And to Veach's credit, right? It's like, yeah, he would be a great addition, but I don't think we would give up the 70th overall pick for a guy we're only going to have for 1 year. Right?
Yeah.
I think Veach has been really successful in his picks, and I just think that 3rd rounder is significantly more useful to us in the future than just having him. Like, do we go for the 3-peat? Yeah, sure, maybe it helps us, but I think maybe he has a plan. Obviously, we've looked pretty decent. We've kind of changed how we play the game, and maybe wide receiver just isn't as important to us right now as what it would have been in the past.
Well, yeah, because I guess we love to just throw 4 tight end sets out there and run with our fullback and our new Kareem Hunt tool, and then have Juju Smith cut underneath. But I mean, honestly, this sounds pretentious, but it's quite frankly true. A Chiefs Brett Veach draft pick is just simply more valuable than 80% of the other teams' draft picks. you
Bro
look
just
at
hits. Bro just hits.
you look at the success rate on Brett Veach's draft picks, and it's way higher than league average. And yes, Chiefs fans love to highlight some of the misses, like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Lucas Niang, and Darian Kennard. But someone in a group chat that I was in said Darian Kennard. He's a 5th-round pick. You know how many 5th-round picks don't even make the roster of the team that drafted them? Like, we are so spoiled that our 7th-round picks are stars that, our draft picks are more valuable. And Veach thinks that he can get a star with our draft picks. Now, granted, people are saying we need to go all in for the three-peat, all in for the three-peat. That's great. I want a dynasty. Three-peat is great too, and Veach will find a way to make that happen, but he's going to be more about, let's get somebody who can help us now and in the future that doesn't mess us up down the road, versus getting a veteran like Amari Cooper. And that makes me wonder if D-Hop is off the table too. It probably would, but he's probably going to be pretty cheap when you want to think, like, especially.
Right, and even Olympic archers miss from time to time, right? It's like, it's all about consistency with your draft picks. It's like, look at the Raiders. I'm sure they'd love to have a bunch of the picks we have. I mean, their drafting has been terrible.
Like, exactly.
Recently, like, their draft was pretty good, but like for years they've just had miss after miss after miss after miss.
I forget who their 1st-round corner was that they took. That was from Ohio State. He's so irrelevant now, and yet we're taking players like we're taking Snead in the 4th. We're taking Jamari Connor in the 4th. We're taking Jalen Watson in the 7th. We're taking even Rashad Fenton in the 6th that one year when we got him. He was really good for those first 2 years. All better players than the guy they took in the 1st. And I mean, then you look at tackle and O-line.
Didn't we bring that guy in from the Raiders for like a couple days, and then like he got caught with like guns or something, and we just cut him like immediately? It was like literally like a 2-day thing, and then he was gone.
Oh, Trayvon Mullen, I think, wasn't it? Maybe? Yes.
Mullen.
Okay, that was a guy that they took, I think, in the 2nd or 3rd round, though. But still, like, again, Raiders bust. Like, he isn't even in the league anymore. And quite frankly, the O-line is the biggest difference. We're getting Creed Humphreys in the 2nd round. They're getting Alex Leatherwoods in the 1st.
And Trey Smith's in the 6th. It's like, we can just hit from anywhere across the board.
Nick Allegretti in the 7th. Like, and who else have we drafted? Like,
CJ Hansen, baby, the GOAT.
Okay.
Soon to be, baby. I love CJ Hansen.
And that's why it is like, we're a little spoiled. I mean, it's a reasonable thing to think CJ Hansen's going to be good. And Garett actually watched the tape and does think he's going to be good.
He's going to be good.
Speaking of going to be good, do the Chiefs need help at wide receiver to be good? Or do you think that we're going to be fine where we're at right now? I was definitely in the camp once Juju had his breakout game of, I'm very okay with maybe getting a very, very small wide receiver upgrade just for depth. Because if one player gets injured, now I'm very scared.
Right.
And I'm already a little scared. But one wide receiver gets injured and we're kind of in a bad place. But then seeing these other teams, not the Jets, I'm not really concerned about them in the AFC. But let's look at the Ravens starting to figure stuff out with Derrick Henry. They discovered that they could use him. The Ravens are looking really, really scary, and they're not the same team that we played week 1. And then you look at the Bills, who have been mistake-free football and have been a completely new identity, and now they have Amari Cooper. I'm more like, okay, these teams are making some moves that start to scare me a little bit. I know I trust my team, and I know that, but it's like, let's make something to kind of push ourselves back up a little bit. I mean, what would you say? Like,
I mean, yeah, I think down the stretch, depending on how some of the dominoes start to fall, I could see us picking up someone even after the trade deadline,
like a free agent, like
just to bring someone in for depth. But I like the kind of vision that Andy Reid has been having lately of really just living in these power sets with these the 4 tight end sets, and just living inside the trenches and allowing us to open up these passing lanes for these guys that haven't had that much experience, right? And we have a lot of young guys out there, and I think the offense that we have now is helping them a lot because it keeps them honest. The defenses have to bring down those safeties, because if they don't, we're just going to run down their throat. Kareem Hunt has been explosive right out the gate. He's already the Chiefs rushing yard leader so far, out rushing Pacheco, and both of them had 2 games, right? So we can run with anybody back there. I'm not really too worried about getting down the field. Obviously, we've had our struggles in the red zone. Maybe a veteran wide receiver like DeAndre Hopkins could help us in the red zone. But other than that, I'm not too worried. I'm not too worried.
You know what? That's actually a really great point. I saw somewhere that they were saying that the reason that passing numbers were so down at the start of the league, because now it seems like they've gone right back
Yeah.
up to where it was, but it was like the deadly too high safety look. Rushing numbers were through the roof for the first 2 to 3 weeks. And now you're starting to see it balance out a little bit as defenses are going like, okay, now we actually have to play the run a little bit. But Andy Reid's like, okay, I mean, defenses are playing the pass so heavy these days. Let's just be power football.
Put a bunch of big boys in the box and just power the ball, man.
I mean, look at who's in the top 25 in college football right now. Army and Navy, the two power football
Dude, oh
run
my
the
God.
ball
I
schools.
couldn't believe it.
Like,
by the way, if you didn't know, the last time those two teams were ranked at the same time was in 1960.
wow.
It's been 60 years
Dang it,
since they
Garett.
were both ranked.
Dang it, Garett. On Upper Hand Chiefs on Talkin Chop, we are supporting Andy Reid taking us to 1960 pound the ball
Power
football.
football, baby. We
Get
love
your
to
fullback,
see it.
get your fullback, get your 4 tight ends, get an extra offensive lineman out there.
And even with our 4 tight end sets, we saw in the game against the Saints that we aren't afraid to pass out of it either, because a lot of our tight ends are really like versatile guys. We have Jared Wiley back there. Obviously, Kelsey's, a pretty, I would say he's a great blocker. He's a physical guy, and he can obviously find space out there. And Noah Gray is just slowly inching forward into that starting position. It's going to be 1 or 2 more years, and Noah Gray's going to explode.
And then Jody Fortson came in and got a catch right off his couch.
There you go.
I mean, I'm kind of liking what we're doing, Garett. And honestly,
Bro was watching the game from Buffalo Wild Wings a couple weeks ago, and now he's catching passes from Mahomes again. It's just kind of crazy.
Speaking of the reunion tour, obviously we brought in Jody Fortson. Marquez Valdez-Scantling was cut by the Bills due to the fact that they acquired Amari Cooper. Do the Chiefs
on the ball?
That's true. He's on my hat that's just down there, but do the Chiefs bring in MVS to fill out the depth chart a little bit? I mean, it is a free agent acquisition. It's free, and we just love to do reunions.
It is free. Why not? He knows the system. He knows the playbook. I don't see why it would hurt more than help. You know what I mean?
That's true. He's going to be depth regardless. I mean, we brought Juju in at the beginning of the year, and everyone thought that was going to be depth. And then all of a sudden, Juju brings some aura from his past self all of a sudden, and he's wide receiver 1 again. And then you bring in Kareem Hunt, all of a sudden, revival career. You bring in Jody Fortson, who couldn't even find a place on the Dolphins, who have been struggling to find any offense. And then Jody Fortson comes in and gets a catch in his first game. We're loving to do our reunion tour. These players know our system. Andy Reid hinted in his presser, he said, listen, we might be fine with the guys we have, but if we were to get someone outside the organization, I'd like someone who's familiar with the system or familiar with the West Coast offense. Who's in LA right now? Demarcus Robinson. Is that a hint, Garett, that Demarcus Robinson gets traded back to the Chiefs and really completes the reunion tour? Because honestly,
we don't need to bring back both of our past 11s. Okay, I think one of them is just fine. I don't think we need to bring them both back.
Demarcus Robinson had a really great year last year, and he's doing all right this year. I would be very comfortable and calm with Demarcus Robinson back in the room as some depth behind everybody coming in. I would feel like that does the job. We don't need to go get a star. We don't need to get D-Hop. Deontay Johnson would be fun, I will say that. But hey,
that's the thing too with like Deontay Johnson. I would love Deontay Johnson, but as we're seeing lately, and it's been like this for probably the past year now, these teams are really not willing to trade with us, man. They really don't want to give us this ammo that we need, and it's a fair point. It's a good play on them, man.
But the Panthers have nothing to lose. You have to think about which teams have nothing to lose. Like the Jags, I don't think would trade with us, even though they're so bad. They're in the AFC. They think that they're relevant enough to be a rivalry with us. We've kind of kicked their butts every time we played them. And then you have the Panthers. They have nothing to lose. They need capital. They're burning every bridge. They love to trade their players away for cheap. And Deontay Johnson's on the last year of his deal. And it fits in Brett Veach's, they have to be like 28 to 24 years old in order for me to want to trade for them kind of category.
Bro's the Leonardo DiCaprio of GMs. He just kind of fits in that like 24 to 28 range, and then he just dumps them.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Now here's another guy. I guess how old is Mike Williams? Because he's 30. It looks like he's 30. But Mike Williams could be cut with this Davante Adams acquisition. Jackson, do you mind looking up how much Mike Williams makes? Because I saw something that said the Jets might not be able to afford to keep both of them. And Mike Williams just got called out by Rodgers as being a bum, and Rodgers doesn't like him. And you know what Rodgers says goes. If Mike Williams gets cut, Garrett, would you want him on the team?
I mean, if we're talking about red zone threats like we talked about with DeAndre Hopkins a little bit ago, Mike Williams, red zone, kind of deadly. I mean, he's been dangerous against us whenever he played against us when he was on the Chargers, but I could see it happening.
Yeah, Mike Williams was always. I was never afraid of Keenan Allen when we played them. It was always Mike Williams I was afraid of.
Always
That
Mike Williams.
that crazy game he had when we went into I don't know if it wasn't overtime, but
No, I think we might have went to overtime because isn't that where Kelsey like did the
Yeah.
wraparound one?
and then but then the Mike Williams caught that 2-point conversion in the end zone.
Oh,
my god,
I
dude.
do remember
Yeah.
that one.
That
We've had some
and
great games
he
against
went
the Chargers.
off that game. He was crazy.
I
Yeah,
forgot to
so-
mention. Oh yeah, sorry, Jackson. Continue
Yeah.
before we move on.
So Mike Williams with the Jets is on a 1-year deal for $10 million.
See, 10 million. They could easily get rid of him by cutting him. Like how much of that's guaranteed? And then because the Jets are so steadfast on this undrafted rookie named like Xavier Gibson that they're not even using their 3rd round pick rookie. He's been like Malachi Corley, Jacob Punch, a friend of ours, loves this Malachi Corley guy. He's a rookie 3rd rounder. They traded up to get him, and they just inactive. They make him a healthy inactive all the time. It's crazy. So like, I can
Now
see
they could be playing it safe, keeping him, just
or
on the
Rodgers
roster,
doesn't like
learning.
him
That's true.
because
That's
Rodgers
probably
has
more
his
likely,
guys.
if I'm honest. Let's put
sorry,
Alan
Jackson.
Lazard up there.
How much of it's guaranteed?
8.3 million is guaranteed.
Oh,
The only problem is
they probably have to
currently, I
trade him.
believe, we might not have the cap space. It looks like we only are at about a little over 4 million in cap space.
They'd have to eat some of that contract. I mean, cutting him doesn't save them that much money then. So
Maybe not.
I mean,
But I mean,
well-
yeah, I mean, we talked about a lot of the wide receivers that could possibly come in. I think probably the more likely ones we just talked about now. I'm a D-Hop like Glazer. I think he would be great on our team. He solves a lot of our problems. I think if it was anybody, I'd love D-Hop, but who knows?
I get that.
We could go nobody. We could bring in a tight end. So who knows?
I'm a big Christian Kirk guy, but he's super expensive too. And the Jags would have to they would have to pay most of his contract for us to acquire him. And that means that we have to pay more draft capital. Fits in Veach's age range of people he likes, but I think that one's completely out the window too. Keenan Allen is out the window now that the Bears are good. Tyler Lockett out the window now that the Seahawks are good. Elijah Moore is interesting because the Browns should just have a fire sale. And I think that they would be willing to move on from a guy they traded for who didn't really like break into the role that he was supposed to. John Mechie, this one's crazy. This one's weird. They just lost Nico Collins. So all of a sudden I was like, okay, Texans aren't sellers either. There's no way that they trade away him. But they just traded Cam Akers away. So they are willing to get rid of some of their depth in order to get capital because they are trying to build something more than just this year. And John Mechie comes in, only a 38% snap. Well, he plays 38% of snaps and no targets, and he's not even out-snapped. He's getting out-snapped by Xavier Hutchinson. They aren't using him. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Garrett, you said you wanted Mechie. I like Mechie.
I feel like from what I've seen of him, I feel like he's just like a Chiefs guy, and he just he could easily fit our system, and just getting him in space would be really valuable. And who knows, if he's super, super cheap, why not? Right?
Yeah. And I mean, then you go to the Giants, who have finally gotten to territory of they're probably not good at football. I mean, I was on the wave of like, hey, maybe they have something. Although they've been
terrible.
they've been without Malik Neighbors for the past like 3 weeks, and I can't even believe they got a win without him. But Jalen Hyatt still doesn't play even without Malik Neighbors. So that's another concerning thing. Like Mechie, Hyatt and Mechie, highly touted prospects when they were coming into the league. And then, they can't even get playing time when people in front of them get injured. Could be someone cheap. Same with Jonathan Mingo, too, and Treylon Burks. Well, Treylon Burks has guys in front of him, but the guys in front of him are just old. Dude, Calvin Ridley is terrible. Like, he has not done anything for the Titans. Like, have you seen him? He got 8 targets and no catches. It is
That's
so
like
bad.
that's so bad. That you should be cut immediately after an 8-target, no reception game.
Jackson, how much money did Calvin Ridley get this
Isn't it like
offseason?
a ton? It's a lot.
Yes, because it's also like a 3-year deal, I think. So like that could be really bad. So, you know, rip Calvin Ridley fantasy owners. I know. Sorry for Oz. I know that you have him in our fantasy league. Jackson.
Calvin Ridley is taking a $10 million cap hit for the year of 24. He's got a 4-year contract, $92 million.
Oh,
Oh
with
my!
a with a 20 million signing bonus.
4
the
years
of the century, dude.
4 years.
4 years for 8 targets, no catches.
Oh my god!
Diabolical.
See, and this is why our organization is so much better. Like, sorry, but like we don't do stupid things like that. We got rid of Snead right when he was hitting that Calvin Ridley age range. You know,
See, we get a guy that has targets and no catches, and then we don't play him like Sky Moore.
Vicinardo DiCaprio, just once they get to a certain age, he gets rid of them.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Unless you're Chris Jones, he's proven that it doesn't matter.
The
and
only
Kelsey.
time, Well, I mean, yeah, it's two of the best players in recent NFL history. Yeah, let's sign him back. I think we can keep him.
And then, speaking of signing players, I mean, yeah, you still have Michael Thomas and Hunter Renfrow on free agency. You have Byron Pringle on free agency, who's probably, I mean, it's just kind of a fun name that we throw back in here. As much as we like to reunion people, I don't think I see Byron Pringle. There's got to be something left in the tank for Thomas, I feel like, though. Michael Thomas, come on. Like, it's Michael Thomas.
He's just been out for so long.
And it's weird, though. It's like his injury wasn't supposed to be that bad. It might be, more than just that. He might have
I don't know.
mental...
I mean, he might have just, like, lost the love of the game. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it happens, and it's just...
Speaking of lost the love of the game, Kadarius Toney I also have on this list as someone who
get him out of here.
I mean,
we don't need to bring him back.
He
as
already...
much as Kadarius Toney worshiper would love that, it's not happening. Which you know what? We are so out of Kadarius Toney that of all the people we talked about, he's the one that's going to come back. Like Veach is just gonna be like, "Hey guys, look at this, Kadarius Toney back at it."
I like.
I'd be so mad.
I have the jersey though, so it'd be kind of funny. But yeah, I like the idea of Beach going like, "Look who it is, it's Kadarius." Like,
I got a big surprise for you guys. I got a big surprise. Just walks in, it's Kadarius.
Oh my gosh. Well, there was some NFL games that happened during this bye week that were not Chiefs related. So we're just going to talk about some of the surprises around the league. It was a less entertaining NFL week, I think, just because last week's was so good, and there were a lot of blowouts. There was a lot of, not as close of games, I guess you could say, and there wasn't any more like, I don't know. It just felt like the matchups weren't as good, Garrett. But either way, the Bears look really, really good. The Bears have an offense.
They look like they're kind of fitting into their scheme finally, and with kind of the offensive line playing a lot better, just lets your young quarterback kind of fill into his role. And look what happens, you win a lot of games. So
yeah, see. Absolutely. And then, I mean, it was the Jags, it was the Panthers. Like, these are bad teams, but like
we'll see how
good.
The Bears really are this week since they're playing the Commanders.
Yeah, that's fair. And I mean,
which I know
because they don't have a good defense either, Garrett. So like they're still going to prove. But honestly, schedule makers of the NFL must be scripted because they're giving Caleb Williams some confidence, and he is, he almost had 5 touchdowns. He should have had 5 touchdowns. Is it spoiled brat to say that? Dang it! When's the last time Mahomes has had 5 touchdowns? Jackson, can you tell me when the last time Mahomes has had 5 touchdowns in a game? Because
it's been a long time.
It feels like a long time. Like, I mean, not that I, need that to happen. We're winning, but it's like, come on. It's fun, It's
like, if they can do it, why can't we, man? We got so much talent. It's just, I want to see more.
Speaking of more, we just played the Saints. We obviously had one of our greatest offensive showings. We missed a lot of red zone opportunities, but we could have maybe got up to 51, but the Bucs sure did. The Bucs dropped 51 on the Saints, and that Sean Tucker guy, their third string running back, who is also a rookie, he had 34 fantasy points. He had an amazing game. Like, and then Bucky Irving, Chris Godwin, like everybody just went crazy against them. And that's the same defense we played. So like that makes me a little concerned, honestly, about this Juju hype now that I start to think about it right now. It's like,
Hey, look, sometimes all you need is one good game to get your confidence back, and
that's true.
maybe it was against a bad defense, but it could get him like, hey, I can still be that guy. I can still run routes. I can still catch balls. I can still make a lot of yards, right?
Now,
all it takes is one good game.
Who Dat's Nation, Saints fan that follows the show, like, listen, your Saints defense is good. It's just injured. It's just so injured that it's
really
now
injured.
It's now a Panthers defense. Oh my gosh, Saints versus Panthers, dude. It's gonna be cinema.
Just a battle of just mid.
Remember when the Saints were going to the Super Bowl after 2 weeks? That was fun. That's why we don't overreact to 2 weeks. We don't even overreact to 5 weeks.
Overreaction Monday is a real thing, guys. Like we all make fun of it, but it is a real thing.
Speaking of overreactions, I want to know when Jackson Mahomes. Wait, when Patrick.
Whoa.
Jackson Mahomes has never had a 5 touchdown game.
He's never thrown a touchdown in an NFL game. I can guarantee you that. But the last time Patrick had 5 touchdowns in a game was in his MVP season in 2022. The last, against the Cardinals. First game.
Oh yeah, I remember that game
versus the Cardinals. He did have a
week 1.
Yeah. He did have a 4 touchdown game last year against the against the rate. No, that's sacks. Against the Chargers.
Huh. Well,
we need a 5 touchdown game, Mahomes. That's all I'm saying.
We need a 5 touchdown game.
6.
Against the Niners.
For 6. Why not?
Against the Niners. There was a time when I thought he was going to break that record of most touchdown passes in a game, which is 7, held by Nicholas Foles, Chiefs legend. Dude, that's a funny aside for Instagram lore. People still like get that Nick Foles retirement post that I made in their feeds, and they still comment angrily because it's like not my followers. It's just like random people on Instagram seeing it. And they're like, excuse me, actually, Nick Foles is not a Chiefs legend. He played for the Eagles and won most of his success there. And I'm like, oh my God, it is obviously a joke post. I posted a picture of Nick Foles, says retired legend. Like I was giving him some praise. I was being serious with that.
It's like when we're like, oh yeah, Le'Veon Bell, Chiefs legend.
Yeah.
It's like,
when is the last time you can say a backup quarterback beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl?
Well, yeah.
And he was Chiefs.
He was. Well, I think that's what they're getting mad at. And you brought that up, Garrett. People were actually mad at the Le'Veon Bell one, too. There was someone who commented, like, Le'Veon Bell's not a Chiefs legend. He's a Steelers legend. I'm like, oh, my God. Read the sarcasm. There's no way I believe that.
It's just, I don't know, morons, man. Morons.
Hey, none of my fans are morons, Garrett. None of our Chiefs
They're not your fans, though. They're not your fans if they don't get your little comedy.
It's the
I know the Eagles ones weren't, but yeah, I mean, dude, they were mad. They're like, "Don't you claim our guy?" And it's like he played with Reed. He played here. We made him. No, he didn't, but he played here first.
Yeah. Speaking of high scoring games, we saw a game in which Dan Skipper, the Lions offensive lineman, ran a better route than Sky Moore has all year. So,
hey, Dan Skipper,
they're just playing. They're just having fun out there, man.
Dan Skipper, same amount of catches as Sky Moore this year. Dude, on less routes run.
I was in the airport during that game, coming back from Chicago, and I got on the plane. I turned back around at the TV one more time. I think it was it was either 10-3 or 17-3. It's like, oh, the Lions are gonna win this. We land. I hop on my phone. I turn on what is it? Sunday night football? No, Football Night in America, and it's the headline is Lions win 47-9. I'm like, what?
Just utter domination.
Where did that come from?
Cowboys are so bad,
dude, and it's funny. Hey, they could be a seller. You know, who's a wide receiver on their team we could steal from them? Jalen Tolbert? No, they're not gonna. He's like their future. Brandon Cooks when he comes back. I don't want Brandon Cooks. In fact, I would rather have Kadarius Toney than Brandon Cooks. That's a lie, but I mean, I don't think Brandon Cooks is good.
I'm surprised they have not stormed Jerry World and like thrown him off the building. Like they need to get away from Jerry Jones so bad. He is ruining their organization.
See, Jerry Jones does the thing where he also likes his reunions, but his reunions are like, let's bring Zeke back after he's super washed and couldn't even be good on the Patriots. Like,
let's bring Taco Charlton back.
Let's
bring him back. Chiefs legend Taco Charlton.
Back
Oh
to
my
the point
God.
about trading with the Lions. Hey, if we trade with the Lions, I got a better player we should go for. Hang on.
Oh,
Where did-
bro's cooking right now.
For our Spotify listeners, Jackson has just gone off headset and left, and now we see his empty chair and room. Unfortunately, Jackson does not have any decorations in his room.
Bro, he has a very neutral background. It's he has the little Chiefs glove back there.
Oh,
Montgomery.
he loves David Montgomery.
I thought wasn't
Jackson-
he on the? Isn't
Jackson,
he not? He's
Jackson,
not on the
he
Lions
just
anymore.
he is. He just
Oh,
got
he went
signed.
back?
He got signed. No, he got signed to
Oh.
a 2 years extension.
Gotcha.
We're
I
not
don't-
getting
I don't
David
know.
Montgomery.
I don't know.
We
Maybe
don't need a
should.
running back. We have like 5. That's
we don't need a
also
running back
Just
unless
add,
it's
just
Ashton
add another,
Jonty in
just
the
add
draft.
another dominant one on the
All right,
on the
I
team.
do-
We
I
already
do-
we already got one of Matt Campbell's running backs. We could take another.
I do want to talk about that, Garrett. That you said.
Give me Ashton Jonty, please.
Dude.
We would
Garrett.
be so deadly.
Garrett really wanted Bijan Robinson. I'm a Texas grad.
I wanted him
I
so
love
bad.
Bijan. Obviously, I would want him, but Garrett wanted him more somehow, and he wanted to get Bijan. And this was whenever Bijan was drafted. We already had. Did we already have Pacheco? Yeah,
Yeah, we had Pacheco.
Mhm.
but like
Oh.
Garrett just wants a star running back so bad.
all the
man.
people trashing on Ashton Jonty have no idea what they're talking about. They're like, oh well, he plays in Mountain West. I'm like, he rushed for 200 against Oregon and for 3 touchdowns on 25 carries.
And Kareem
Like
Hunt.
he can go against anybody and just lights out dominate him. Ashton Jonty is going to be generational.
I mean, Kareem Hunt played for Toledo. Aaron Jones played for UTEP. Austin Eckler played for like Colorado Mountain State S&T University of the Mines for the
It
blind.
doesn't matter where
crap.
a football player comes from. Sometimes you just find a guy. Like he's just a
Jackson,
diamond in the rough, man.
Jackson, I
Kareem
need to
Hunt
know.
also- Kareem Hunt also was coached in college by a goated running back head coach.
Oh, it's because it's Iowa State. That's why you like Montgomery. That makes sense. Also, earlier in the show,
I
I'm
say?
reading the notes that Jackson feeds us. Earlier in the show, I said cut Alan Lazard. I meant to say cut Mike Williams. My bad.
I was about to say Lazard is tied for
popping off.
first in the NFL.
But it appears it's also, I was going to point out, for this is a fantasy application, talking fantasy now, because Talkin Chop fantasy. I'm actually trading for Garrett Wilson because, I mean, this offense already supports 2 wide receiver ones. You know, Alan Lazard is a wide receiver 11 in fantasy right now. So Davante Adams comes in and like at least the worst Garrett Wilson can be is like wide receiver 11. Like,
Hey, what can I say? Lazard just had a really good head coach in college.
okay.
God, dude, Iowa State homer over here, man.
Hey,
well,
Iowa
yeah.
State's undefeated. Hey, what if
We're
Iowa
undefeated.
State
It's
plays
true.
Texas in
It's
the
6-0.
playoffs?
They'd kick their ass.
What
No,
are
they
the
would
ranked?
not.
What other ranked opponents do you guys play this year?
we
We still have who? Texas or Iowa State?
Well, Texas plays
Iowa
Georgia
State.
next week, so
that's gonna be a big game.
Dude, I'm
We
trying to
play
get into
Utah,
that
We
one.
play K-State. That's really it for the rest of the year.
You say
Super-
UConn?
Utah.
So
Oh.
besides
Did I say
besides
UConn?
K State, you guys
No.
have a pretty easy way to undefeated.
Yeah, I mean we still got KU. We
They
have
suck.
UCF coming up
They're
this week.
terrible.
I mean,
Yeah,
sorry
yeah.
guys. This is for my brother's college. He goes to
Terrible.
KU.
Hey,
Evan Pokorny of Upper Hand Jayhawks. That's not a thing.
get to
Don't go
go-
waste your time looking that up.
I get to go to Arrowhead and I get to watch my Cyclones play.
Wait,
That's
I
true.
was I
Yeah.
might be going to the Colorado KU game at Arrowhead.
I
'cause my
am. I actually am.
Wait,
I'm
are you? I'll see
So,
you there because
uh,
my mom is a Colorado alum, so I'm gonna go.
So coaches in high school coaches in Kansas, we actually get free in-state tickets to any college game, and it counts for the Arrowhead games.
Do you get 2?
Yes, I do.
Do you
all right,
have
let's
a-
all
you
3
with
go. Talking
I-
Colorado
Yeah,
Jayhawks.
I already offered it to Brock. If he says no,
you? Bruh.
Yeah.
I'm
for the
Man.
KU Colorado game, for the Iowa State game, I'll try and get to that one too.
I'm
All right.
already going to that.
Yeah, see, you guys, you should inspire the youth like Garett Ammutis does when he coaches the offensive line
True.
of our alma mater.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Shout out.
Still trudging, man. Well, we've had a little rough patch, but we're gonna be on the rise. Be on the rise.
You know what? We got to talk about the 49ers, guys. They're coming to town. Actually, just kidding. We're coming to town. We're coming to Ninerville. We're coming to a pretty banged up team. They're always injured, but then they're not I mean, I honestly, when has the Niners been fully healthy? I don't think I've
Never.
seen it. I don't think I've ever watched a fully healthy Niners team play football. And I'm sorry, Niners fans, but you guys have like that Chargers curse where the Chargers are just injured all the time too. So I don't know. You guys might have a training staff thing. I mean, I'm saying this, and our team's super injured this year for the first time. But hey,
See, the difference between that, like with the Chargers and the Niners, though, is like the Niners have so many All-Stars that if a couple of them get injured, they still have a really good team, whereas the Chargers have like a couple really good players, and if they get injured, they're done. They're cooked.
yeah, the Niners will always find a way. The Chargers will, yeah, they'll
The
find a
Niners
way to
like,
beat
oh
us. The
no,
Chargers will
oh
find a way to beat
no.
us with Mike Williams, but he
That's
never
true.
plays. He only plays when he plays us. That's
Yeah.
hey, Mike Williams.
But then,
Now,
yeah, I
hey,
feel like the
maybe
Niners just like, oh no, we just lost 2 of
Florida.
our All-Pros. We only have 11 more. Oh no, what are we gonna do? And then
Hey,
they
Mike
just
Williams.
steamroll everybody.
Mike Williams, are you going to take that disrespect from Aaron Rodgers calling you a bum and you ran the wrong route that could have won you the game? No, you should demand a trade to the Chiefs and that the Jets pay for it. They pay all of your salary.
We're
I
sending him
think
to the Jets, and we're making them pay for it. Or we're sending the Chiefs. He's already at the Jets.
well, Jordan Mason is been having a great season so far in place of Christian McCaffrey, who will not be playing for our game. Jordan Mason might not play for our game. He's been day to day. I didn't ever think that he was going to have more than 50 rushing yards against us, but Garrett, you have a little friend come into town, or you have a little friend that might.
A sad realization that a man that I wish was on our team will be starting most likely against us, and that is Isaac Grando. Really, really, really exciting to watch running back. I just think he's going to play really well. Came out of Louisville, drafted him. I think he was the 6th, or might have been the 5th. I think it was the 5th.
No,
round.
they went. I think he went the 4th.
He went the
like
4th.
He was supposed to fall in the 6th. I mean, that's where we mocked him and
Yeah,
stuff, and that's where everyone mocked him.
If he had dropped to the 6th, I would have wanted him really bad. But I think he runs the ball really hard. I just think he's like a Pacheco clone.
Yeah.
So, do I think he's going to rush for a lot on us? No. The Chiefs' rush defense has proven that they are elite. I don't think we have not had a single running back, not counting Lamar Jackson, really rush for any significant amount of yardage, and we've kept their yards per carry really low. Obviously the Niners offensive line with steam headed by Trent Williams is really good. I just think that we're going to be able to handle them up front, and we're going to force Brock Purdy to make a lot of throws. Hopefully that plays well. He's really accurate with the football, so maybe not. But I think our defense has played really well, and I think we can handle him up front.
I mean, you do know who his head coach is.
Yeah.
know.
We all know
He's
his head
Iowa
coach of
State.
college. Yeah, we all know.
I was thinking that too. I was like, Garrett, you better not trash Brock Purdy right now, or else Jackson's gonna.
I used to be a Brock Purdy hater. The dude just can play football. I mean, he the kind of like touch and finesse he has with the football is really, really accurate. It's just he puts the ball in the right spot. There was I don't remember, I think it was week 2. I don't remember who they played, but there was just this pass that it was super covered. The defense really couldn't have done a better job, but it was just he put the ball in the corner of the end zone right in the guy's, just the only spot it could have been. It was just such a beautiful pass. I think he dropped it, but it was such a good ball.
Maybe it was Chris Conley.
His football IQ
It wasn't Chris Conley, but
skyrocketed since he's come out of college. He's always been pretty accurate. He's always been he's had a good arm, but he had thrown a lot of just stupid picks in college. And as soon as his rookie year, when he finally came in, his IQ just skyrocketed.
That might be to Shanahan's system credit. He might just be good at fixing mistakes in quarterbacks, unless your name is Trey Lance, because Jimmy G all of a sudden looked like a magic player when he was on the Niners. You have Sam Darnold went through that system, comes out one of the best quarterbacks in football right now, and when he goes to the Vikings, and then you have Brock Purdy goes into that system, and then he's ready because he didn't have to start right off the bat, which I think helped him a lot. He got to sit there for many, many weeks, and then he got to play. So, I mean, Shanahan's system.
And I feel like a lot of things that people don't talk about is just the underrated performance in practice, right? I think I've talked about this before with you, not on the podcast, but we can take this example, right? Brock Purdy came into the league, got drafted by the 49ers, who does he play against every single day in practice? The 49ers defense.
Yeah.
Iron sharpens iron is a motto that is just ingrained in football society, and it's true, right? So the past 3-4 years, what has been our weakness as the Chiefs defense? Our rushing defense. And all of a sudden, we have one of the best rush defenses in the league. Why is that? Because
Pacheco.
what have we done a lot more recently? We are
Run the
now
ball.
really a power run heavy offense. And because of that in defense, I just think we are learning levels of the game, and Brock Purdy's doing the same with the 49ers.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I mean, we should go over their defensive injuries right now, though, which, I think this defense, like you said, Garrett, is one of the best, should be respected. Except right now, I think they're suffering from Saints syndrome because they're all injured.
Pretty injured. They still have a lot of great players out there, obviously, but a lot of great players out as well.
And I mean, some of the best ones, like, Char Ward, our corner, who we...
Another reunion, man.
I loved that trade so much. When we acquired Char Ward from the Cowboys in the preseason, and then he ended up being a star. But then, he had to go off and get paid, and he's doing well with the Niners. He's questionable. He probably will play, though, because he almost played last week. So we'll probably see him play. But Talanoa Hufanga is a stud in the making, is already
Really
a stud.
good.
He was a
Really
stud in the
good.
making. I remember when he was just on special teams and he was just blocking punts. And I was like, this guy needs to start. And then he did. And he pushed out whatever Jimmy Ward or whatever bum they had over at safety on the Niners. But Talanoa Hufanga was like, it's time. And unfortunately, he's out. He's not going to play. So, that's great because I want to see us throw the ball
really
deep.
Well. So.
Yeah. I mean, and then who else is hurt?
I mean, one of the big, obviously, Drake Greenlaw being injured is a huge loss to the Niners.
Especially
He's a phenomenal player.
Especially with Kelsey and, the run game, too, because Drake Greenlaw is so great at containing outside runs, and he's good at chipping tight ends. And he's good at doing everything, honestly. And everyone gives credit to Fred Warner. Fred Warner is, he's the Mike, he's the middle linebacker. He does all this stuff. But, Drake Greenlaw makes Fred Warner better as well. So that's, it's going to be nice that Fred Warner might have to be a little bit all over the field. Fred Warner kind of does own Mahomes a little bit too, is what I was thinking.
Yeah, yeah. But
Fred Warner,
to be fair, we play a lot of really close games with them. We play a lot of close games and a lot of games way late in the season. Obviously, we've played 2 Super Bowls against them now, and I think we've had a third matchup in between there somewhere. I don't necessarily remember, but I'm sure it was a close game as well.
You want to know a fun fact? The Niners haven't beaten us since Colin Kaepernick was quarterback.
Wow. That's kind of rough. That's like Broncos level stuff.
Yeah, like that's one that doesn't get talked about a lot. And I was like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. But, hey, shout out Colin. I don't remember who our quarterback was in that game because I saw that stat pop up. We might have had, who would we have had? Would that be Alex Smith? No. Yes.
No, I think
would
that
be
it
might have been because it would be the year Alex
year,
Smith got traded away from the Niners. I mean,
so. We could be just totally capping right now. We wouldn't know, but
no, I'm pretty sure it's Alex Smith at that time because I was like, we're not getting into Trent Green era. That's like 2000.
I do think another big injury though for the Niners that is really going under everyone's radar is Jake Moody. Because I think this game could come down to a field goal, and having to sign a guy that's not your guy is a really big deal.
Not only is he not their guy, he is the nepotism baby of the NFL. Anders Carlson, sorry, buddy, I'm going to rip into you for a second. You only made the league because your brother is the best kicker, one of the best kickers in the NFL, in Daniel Carlson. And then did you see, Jackson, I need to see Bro's like stats in college.
Field goal percentage?
Anders Carlson was terrible in college, still gets drafted. And he misses a game-winning kick and a bunch of kicks for the Packers that would have sent them to the next round of the playoffs when they were on their hot streak. So the Packers said, bye, you're done.
Was there really no other kicker available? Like, I mean, literally anybody.
Yeah. And Jackson did fact check us correct, as Alex Smith was the quarterback. And it was 2014.
Dude, that's literally 10 years ago. They haven't beat us in 10 years.
Well,
obviously, we don't play him too often, but I got wood right here. I'm knocking, but
we play him in Super Bowls and in important games. But yeah,
but even injured, the Jets defense the 49ers defense has played really well. They've held a lot of really tough opponents to low scores, and it's just
Here's what I'm a little concerned about. They dropped 32 on the Jets defense, which is honestly, yes, Garrett, you brought up in our pre-show meeting that the Jets defense was in their week 1 stage, but and the Niners were at their week 1 offense stage when everybody was healthy, but still 32 on the Jets defense is quite impressive. I would like to see how our defense fares. I think this will be our biggest challenge offensively, or sorry, this will be our biggest offensive team challenging our defense because look, the Ravens, they have their certain scheme. The Bengals, they have their certain way, but I mean, this Niners can hit you in so many different ways and they can win in so many ways offensively. So, I mean, we'll see. They are injured and that does factor into this. Yeah, so Carlson had a 71% field goal percentage in college
terrible.
for Auburn throughout his 4-year career.
That is just not where you want to be at in terms of kick, especially at the NFL level. These are going to be really tight games. This matchup could be the one deciding factor down the line of who gets the number one seed in the AFC and NFC playoff picture.
And I mean, it'd be pretty funny if the game came down to Carlson and nepotism
just
baby
shanks one.
Yeah.
Hey, do we want to have that be a prediction? How many field goals does Anders Carlson make or miss?
I think he'll miss one for sure. I mean, I don't know. It's just like he missed a lot. I mean, Upper Hand Packers, well, it hates him. Like he was like, this guy, it's like keeps missing everything, and I mean, I would too if like
I mean, if a guy was the sole reason I had missed another playoff game, yeah, I'd be pretty mad at him.
Yeah, I mean,
like
reasonable NFL fans,
like D Ford.
Yeah, like D Ford.
Is Anders Carlson the Packers D Ford?
That's a great segment. Yeah, let's talk about that. No, that's funny. Yeah, let's go into some score predictions because honestly, we're coming up on an hour. Garrett, we didn't think this was going to get to an hour. But
I mean, we just start yapping and we just start going, man. Like we can drag these on.
But yeah, listen, I think honestly, we're just going to go back to power football. I think we're going to try to run the ball a lot. I don't think we're going to be high flying. I think we're going to try to control the game more than, try to be flashy and put up points, especially because of kind of what we did in the Saints game. We just dominated the time of possession. 40 minutes to 20 minutes time of possession battle. I think it's going to be similar in this sense where we're just going to do our thing, play our offense, take our 5-yard gains. Maybe please throw a deep ball to Worthy. I'd like to see that, but I think we're going to have a lot. I think Kelsey and Juju are both going to have like 7 to 8 catches again because it's going to be more dink and dunk. So maybe Jody Fortson touchdown this week when we get into the red zone.
Wouldn't that be something? They stole my Noah Gray touchdown. They stole it. They stole it from me. I couldn't believe it. I was so mad. I had a parlay going. Noah Gray touchdown. Catches one in the end zone. Called back. I was so depressed.
For my score prediction, I'm going to go a little higher just because I think for the Niners and Chiefs games in the regular season are usually high scoring, and also because I think the Chiefs have proven that they can score a little bit more on an injured Niners defense. But 32-28 is my score prediction. Chiefs end up on top. I guess by that prediction, Carlson doesn't make a single field goal. So, that would stink for them. But, that's what I'm going.
You know what I'm going? My score prediction.
Okay.
I'm going to blow your mind here, David.
Don't do this.
42-41. It's going to be a barn burner.
I would love to see that.
It's going to be a barn burner. Why? I just think that Mahomes has had enough. I think it's finally time for him to lock in. Just absolutely open up the playbook. We go absolutely insane. Come out with these just formations with these 4 tight end sets that the league hasn't seen in 60 years, and we just unload everything. I could see us exploding. I could also see the game being like 19-18. So it can go either way. I'm going 42-41. Just bring it down to the wire. Really great game offensively.
Ends on an Anders Carlson missed field
goal. Ends on an Anders Carlson missed field goal for the Chiefs to win the game.
That would be
in
crazy.
terms of just in game stuff, expect Kareem Hunt to just absolutely go off again. He's been phenomenal. Our offensive line's been handling business up front. He's averaging more yards per carry than Pacheco did, and he's already had a pretty great start to his reunion with the Chiefs. So I could expect him to have another 100-yard game. Who knows?
Love
Maybe
that.
he'll have 2 touchdowns. Who knows?
And obviously we have Statsman Jackson now that he can add his score prediction as well. So Jackson.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 35-27. Anderson Carlson's gonna go 2 for 3 on field goals.
important
I love the
statistics
Anderson
there.
Carlson bets here. I think that's going to be a really fun really fun bit.
Mm.
I mean, listen, all this talk just for him to not actually end up being the kicker because he's on their practice squad, but like their kicker is injured, so they probably would.
They just put like Wisnowski at kicker or something. It's just like
for their game they did. I saw it wasn't last week. They had a different kicker last week.
If only they had Justin Reed.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, they had Juszczyk kicking practice field goals on the sideline. Jackson, who did kick for the Niners last week? It might have been our old friend Matthew Wright, if I recall correctly. But I remember taking 0. I was so hungover I couldn't really watch any of the NFL games this week. I was taking this bye week seriously. The Texas
down in Texas and OU.
It was Matthew Wright.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how did he do? Because
he went 3 for 3 on field goals and 3 for 3 on extra points.
Why would they sign Anders Carlson? Do you think is Matthew Wright on their roster or is he on their practice squad? That seems like that's
his MRI returned negative, so maybe it's Matthew Wright. Maybe we're trashing on Anders Carlson for no reason. But hey, if
Matthew Wright got hurt.
He got hurt, but the results came back negative, so he is expected to play. So
really,
I think that just came out. But
wait, what do you mean by it just came out?
Like I looked it up and I'm like, oh well, it says Matthew Wright might play.
Wow, wait, that's crazy.
Wright is expected to serve as a place kicker.
I don't care. He's still gonna miss. He's still gonna miss it. I don't care.
Well, no, he definitely will because he missed so many for the Chiefs. Remember when Harrison Butker went down? God. He started over Justin Reed. That's the guy. That is him. So that's a familiar face right there. Man, now I feel bad for the editors because the reels are going to be hard because they're going to pretend we didn't talk about Anders Carlson.
Well, no, leave it in. Leave it in.
You leave in. But they gotta put in the Matthew Wright bit at the end. But speaking of the end, we have gotten to the end of our hour of podcasting for this episode. Thanks so much for your journey of listening to this lovely sound for your ears. And if you go to the YouTube, you get to see our 3 faces now that we have our triple box here.
Now 3.
And then thanks guys for watching. Be sure to check out the Instagram. It's the best way to follow us. Also, check out the YouTube. It's the best way to get the shorts and reels. We have a TikTok. You can go watch that. Post the shorts there for the podcast highlights. Those are really fun. I like the shorts and the TikToks and the reels, which are all the same video.
It's fun when they pop up. I love watching them. I mean, I know we talked about it already, but I like watching the reels. But I mean, as always, baby, we're just talking chop.